If you love sensual billionaire romances where isolation strips away control, where intimacy forms in silence, and where one man's need becomes impossible to deny, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss a new story. The island wasn't supposed to feel this quiet. I expected the kind of silence that comes with luxury. Curated, intentional, softened by staff and systems humming just beneath the surface. Instead, when the boat pulls away and leaves us alone on the dock, the quiet settles heavy and real, pressing into my chest like a held breath. This place isn't a retreat. It's an absence. The billionaire standing beside me doesn't comment on it. He never comments on things he can't control. Lucas Vaughn is taller than he looks in photographs. Broader too. White. Early 40s. Dark blonde hair cut neatly. Jaw set in the kind of restraint that feels practiced rather than natural. He leans slightly on the railing as he watches the boat disappear, one hand gripping the wood a fraction too tightly. "You're sure you're okay?" I ask carefully. He doesn't look at me. "I wouldn't be here if I wasn't." That's not an answer. Lucas invited me to the island under the guise of recovery. A remote place, minimal distractions, no press, no expectations. His doctors called it stress-induced collapse, burnout, nervous system overload. Words that sound clinical until you see the man they belong to standing too still beside you, breathing like he's rationing air. I'm not his therapist. I'm not his doctor. I'm here because I specialize in regulation, routine, grounding, quiet support. The kind of help men like Lucas don't ask for until their bodies force the issue. The house is modern but sparse, built into the cliff overlooking the ocean. Glass walls, pale stone, open space that feels almost too exposed. There's no staff waiting inside. No hum of activity. Just us. "You'll have the guest room," Lucas says as he leads me inside. Of course I will. The first few days pass carefully. We establish routine, meals at set times, walks along the shoreline in the mornings, quiet afternoons. Lucas spends hours staring out at the water, jaw tight, posture rigid, like he's bracing for something that never comes. He doesn't sleep much. I know because I don't either. At night, the house creaks softly as it settles, and I hear him pacing. Always barefoot. Always measured. Like he's afraid sudden movement might break something inside him. "You don't need to stay up," he says one night when he finds me sitting in the kitchen with a mug of tea. "I wasn't asleep," I reply honestly. His gaze lingers. "You don't have to monitor me." "I'm not," I say. "I'm present." He exhales slowly. That's worse. The fourth night is when things shift. A storm rolls in unexpectedly, heavy rain slamming against the glass walls, wind rattling the structure just enough to remind us how far we are from everything else. Lucas stiffens the moment the thunder cracks, shoulders locking, breath going shallow. "Lucas," I say softly. "Look at me." He doesn't. "Lucas," I repeat. "Breathe." He closes his eyes, jaw clenched. "I can't," he admits quietly. Everything feels too close. I move slowly, deliberately, stopping several feet away. "Tell me what you need." His eyes open then, sharp with something raw beneath the control. "I don't know." That honesty feels like a fracture. "Can I sit with you?" I ask. He hesitates, then nods. We sit on opposite ends of the sofa at first. The storm rages outside, but inside the house feels suspended, like we're sealed off from the rest of the world. "You're not failing," I tell him quietly. "I don't fail," he says automatically. "That's not what I said." His breath stutters once. I shift closer, not touching, just present. Close enough that he can feel my warmth without feeling trapped. "You don't have to hold everything together here," I say. "No one's watching." "I am," he replies. I meet his gaze. "Then let me help you watch." Something in him softens. Not relief, but permission. After that night, he starts sleeping more. Not deeply, but longer. He stops pacing. Starts sitting beside me instead of across the room. Dependency creeps in quietly. He waits for me before eating. Walks only if I'm with him. Listens for my footsteps in the morning like they anchor his day. "You're becoming part of my routine," he says one afternoon, not accusing, observing. "That's what you asked for," I reply. "Yes," he agrees. "I just didn't expect it to matter this much." The island changes him. Or maybe it strips him back to something truer. Without assistance, without meetings, without constant demand, Lucas becomes more aware. Of sound, of touch, of distance. One evening, as the sun dips low and the house fills with gold light, he sits beside me on the terrace, knee brushing mine accidentally. He doesn't move away. Do you want space? I ask. No, he says immediately. Then softer. I want to know it's there. I let my knee remain where it is. The closeness feels charged, not sexual, yet, but intimate in a way that makes my pulse slow instead of race. I don't remember the last time someone stayed without needing something from me. He says. You don't need to give me anything, I reply. His gaze drops to my hand resting on my thigh. That's what scares me. Why? Because I don't know how to stop needing you. The admission lands between us. Heavy and dangerous. We can slow down, I say carefully. He shakes his head. I don't want to. That night he knocks on my door. Once. Softly. I'm not asking you to come in, he says through the wood. I just need to know you're here. I open the door. He stands there, shoulders tense, eyes searching. I'm here, I say. He exhales like he's been holding his breath all day. From then on, the lines blur, not crossed but thinned. He sits closer. Touches linger longer. His hand brushes mine when he passes, not accidental, not possessive, testing. One evening, as we stand at the counter preparing dinner together, he reaches out without thinking, fingers closing gently around my wrist. He freezes instantly. I'm sorry. I don't pull away. Do you want me to move? No, he says, voice low. I want to know if this is okay. It is, I say softly. He releases me slowly, like he's memorizing the shape of consent. Later, as we sit on the sofa, he speaks into the quiet. I didn't bring you here just to recover, he admits. I brought you because I didn't trust myself alone. And now? I ask. And now I don't trust myself without you. The truth of it settles heavy and undeniable. I won't cage you, he says. I won't trap you here. I know, I reply. Say it anyway, he asks. You won't trap me, I repeat. His shoulders finally drop. The first time he touches me with intention is slow and careful. His hand rests at my waist, warm, grounding, asking without words. I place my hand over his. Yes, I whisper. The kiss that follows isn't hungry. It's restrained, deliberate, like everything else between us. When we pull apart, his forehead rests against mine, breath uneven. I don't know how to do this without losing control, he admits. You don't have to control it, I reply. Just stay present. He does. The island keeps us isolated for weeks longer than planned. Weather delays. Logistics. Excuses that stop feeling accidental. By the time the boat finally returns, neither of us is eager to hear it. You don't have to leave, Lucas says quietly. I know, I reply. Will you? He asks. I look at him. The man who once stood rigid on the dock, afraid of stillness, now grounded, breathing easily, eyes steady on mine. No, I say. I'll stay. Not because he needs me, but because somewhere between the silence and the storm, he became someone I chose. And on this island, stripped of everything else, that choice feels more powerful than anything either of us left behind. The decision changes the air immediately. Not dramatically. Not like a declaration. Just a quiet shift, like something heavy finally being set down. Lucas doesn't smile when I say it. He doesn't move closer either. He just closes his eyes for a moment, breathing out slowly, as if his body is registering safety before his mind does. Thank you, he says. Not for staying. For choosing. The days after that feel steadier. Grounded. The island no longer feels like an escape or a hiding place, but something intentional, contained. Ours. Lucas starts waking earlier, not from restlessness but purpose. He makes coffee now, burns it the first time, then adjusts. Small things he hasn't done for himself in years. You don't hover anymore, he says one morning as we sit at the table, sunlight spilling across the stone floor. I don't need to, I reply. You're here. He nods slowly. I am. The dependency doesn't disappear. It transforms. He still reaches for me instinctively. When the wind rises suddenly, when the quiet presses too hard. when his thoughts spiral faster than his breath. But now he pauses first, checking my face, asking without words. And I answer. Every time. One afternoon we swim. Not far. Just enough to feel the water close around us, cool and grounding. He stays near me, movements careful but less guarded than before. I used to hate being watched, he says quietly as we float side by side. It made me feel evaluated. And now? I ask. Now it makes me feel held. That honesty settles deep. That night, when the wind howls against the cliffs again, he doesn't tense. He pulls me closer instead, my back resting against his chest as we sit wrapped in a blanket on the terrace. You're regulating me, he murmurs. I'm not doing anything, I reply. Yes, he says. That's the point. The intimacy deepens without escalation. Touch stays deliberate, chosen. His hand at my waist. My fingers resting against his forearm. Nothing rushed. Nothing claimed. One evening he speaks into the quiet, voice low. I'm afraid this will end. Everything ends, I say gently. He tightens his hold slightly, not possessive, just present. Then promise me we won't pretend this was nothing. I turn in his arms to face him. I won't. The island changes seasons subtly. The air shifts. The water warms. Time stretches in a way that feels unreal. When the boat finally arrives again, supplies restocked, connection briefly restored, Lucas watches it dock without the tension he once carried. You don't look trapped anymore, I observe. I'm not, he says. I know you could leave. And that makes you calmer? I ask. Yes, he replies immediately. Because you're still here. That night, when he kisses me again, it's deeper. Still restrained. Still careful. But sure. His hands know where to rest now. His breath doesn't hitch with fear. I don't feel lost in this, he says quietly against my forehead. I feel anchored. So do I admit. The island was meant to help him recover. It did, but not in the way anyone expected. Because recovery wasn't about solitude. It was about learning how to stay without control. When we finally leave weeks later together, the mainland feels louder, sharper, less forgiving. But Lucas doesn't shrink back into himself. He reaches for my hand instead. Not to steady himself. To connect. And as the island fades into the distance behind us, I realize the truth neither of us says aloud. Isolation didn't make him dependent on me. It taught him what it feels like to choose closeness and to be chosen back. And that is something he will never unlearn.